Hi, Sandra. Welcome to BI Consulting Pro. So thank you so much for joining us today, and it's privileged to have you on BI Consulting Pro. There was a lot of audience was asking about the real-time intelligence. What is it? How we can take the leverage of it using either Microsoft Azure or now in Microsoft Fabric. And then I approached you. We know that we are fellow Microsoft MVPs, and you are contributing a lot to the community, data community. So here we are.
Yes. Thank you very much for being here. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sander. That's short for Alexander. I'm living in the Netherlands and I am active in the IT for more than 30 years now.
Oh,
And somehow the last 10 years, I moved over from being a full stack developer towards a developer who's doing IoT, Internet of Things. So I moved my way from cloud development to machines, and in the end, towards protocols and in communication with devices, with machines inside factories. Um, and yeah, I'm doing that as a senior IoT architect for Alten and our sister company, the STG Group. Uh, there are multiple projects. We have a team doing the IoT part. But what we find out is that it's not only about the communication between the devices and the cloud. That's a
yeah,
very important part, of course. But
yeah.
actually, it is all about the insights that we get from the real-time data. So
Indeed.
that's what I focus on the last couple of years.
Wow, that's great. So let's start with this one because most of the people even don't know about IoT. What is it? Why we really need it? So if you had to just explain IoT to a business person, what that would be?
Well, IoT, Internet of Things, is a common name for moving data around on networks. And it's mostly used for getting data from devices or machines or vehicles or persons maybe or buildings and pick up that data and send it to the cloud to add value. It's all about the data that we get. We want to have insights. For that, we need data. And well, how do you get the data? For that, we need IoT. That means that we try to be very smart to um, offer a reliable solution regarding getting data from devices which are normally not internet connected, and then move that data over in the most secure way towards the cloud. And once it is in the cloud, well, it's ours, and we can slice and dice it, whatever we want to do with it. The most interesting part that I find, it's all data in motion.
Yeah,
Of course, we have reference databases, but it's all about data moving from A to B. And while it's in flight, we try to make sense of it and get
yeah.
insights from it.
Indeed. So will it be right to say that, for example, if I want to get to know what's happening either to my truck or to some boiler that I have into my factory, or maybe some other device that I have planted at some distant location and I want to monitor that, that the place where the IoT is gonna help me.
Yes, indeed. We have machines which are doing their job. They have a protocol. So on the edge of the local network, that's called why it's called edge.
Yeah,
We have a device which can collect that data from the local network, from the machines with the protocol, with wires, temperature, humidity, pressure, the speed of a motor, the amount of current and a voltage used by a motor. That's what we pick up, and we send that to the cloud over a secure connection. And
yeah.
even on the edge, we can have extra compute to already work with the data or aggregate it or combine it with other data before we send it to the cloud. So if we can filter out data which is not needed, the communication will be cheaper and the communication will be faster and more reliable.
Indeed. Well, before we jump into more detail, I would like to know one thing from your side. What makes you to decide to come into IoT field? Because you have more than 20 years of work experience, and this is really a lot. And most of the people are not even near to that. In my circle, at least, I'm working with data for more than like 14 or 15 years. But still, I see only few people who are into this IoT type of profession. And also, you are a Microsoft MVP for Microsoft Azure IoT and real-time intelligence. So please
Yeah.
share your experience with that.
Yes. We are talking about 2016, 2017, and I was all about building websites with product teams for customers. And
Yeah,
I was mostly doing the back end part, getting data from databases or getting them from service buses, the plumbing of getting the data in and
yeah,
out solutions. But the interesting part that my background is that I'm when I was a student, I was doing production automation and logistics. That was
yeah,
my area of expertise. But for some reason, I ended up in enterprise applications. So when 2016, the IoT part came up that you can actually get data from physical devices, from machines, from vehicles, and you can send that to the cloud and work with that data. It was for me an eye opener. It was like feeling coming home.
yeah,
Uh, I attended all the sessions that were there, the workshops, and at some point Microsoft asked me to help them out at some workshops because the proctor was not available.
yeah,
Um, and Microsoft was also working with partners, and they needed some workshops. So they asked me, "From Hey, Sander, are you available to get this workshop arranged for us?" So
wow.
of course, I said yes. So during the
Yeah,
night and in the weekend, I worked on that workshop, and then they asked me, "Well, are you an MVP?" I said, "No, I'm not." Why are you not an MVP? You're so active. I said, "Well,
yeah,
actually, nobody introduced me yet." So on January 1st, in the Netherlands, during eating oliebollen,
yeah.
I got an email that congratulations, you are awarded the MVP
Wow.
award on the IoT. So I almost choke in my oliebol, and my wife
Wow.
was like, "Well, put away that telephone.
Indeed.
We're here at the party." So
Yeah.
that's actually the official start of my IoT journey with Microsoft IoT.
Wow. So which year was that? 2016 or after that, when you got first time Microsoft MVP title? Which year was it?
That was January 2017.
Wow. So
So
it's
and
already 8 years.
yeah,
Wow.
since that's 8 years ago, and since then I am always rewarded again for my
Yeah.
IoT contributions. And this year I actually became a double or dual MVP in the area of real-time intelligence. Uh,
Indeed.
and that's mostly because the last couple of years I also worked a lot with Azure Data Explorer,
Yeah.
which is the
Yeah.
real-time database for, well, real-time data.
Yeah.
And that can be, of course, IoT. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You have to think about that telemetry coming from a device, that those are immutable observations, those are facts, those are events which happened, and maybe there's a wrong value in there, but still a valid event.
Yes.
um, but the interesting part, because there are also people who are not doing IoT here, think about all the events that you have in your solution. Think
Yeah.
about logging,
Yeah.
think about security audits, think
Yeah.
about changes of data in your
Indeed.
solution.
Yes.
Um, those are interesting over time, because you want to know the changes over time of that data, and you
Yeah.
don't lose old events.
Yeah.
So where I used to have work with SQL Server, there's just one row, and I change
Yeah.
it. I'm not sure what happened with the old data anymore. Of
Yeah.
course, nowadays there are history tables behind it, but
Yeah.
um, the power of Azure Data Explorer is that I can query, I can store data, millions and billions of rows of data in a compressed way. Well,
Yeah.
that's convenient because then I pay less for the data storage, but still I can query billions of rows within seconds.
Yeah.
It's so
That's true.
fast. And
Indeed.
and I get so much insights on anomalies or on trends, time series data.
Yeah,
It's a powerhouse. Uh,
indeed.
if
Indeed.
if you're doing something with long-term data, Azure Data
Mhm.
Explorer is probably the way to go in the Azure platform.
Yeah. So, in your opinion, because there's a lot of requirement for real-time intelligence, people would like to just channelize their data through real-time channels. For example, if I have my data stored in the JD, which is just another, let's say, ERP system where my data has been stored, provided by Oracle, and I would like to get the data in real time into my, let's say, data lakehouse. So in those kind of scenarios, I would like to ask you a very specific one. Would it be better that we use the Azure Event Hub and then we are going to channelize into our data warehouse that we are going to create into our Synapse Analytics, for example? Or we should go towards the Microsoft Fabric? Because I heard Microsoft Fabric is going a lot. It's a hot piece of cake nowadays in the market. And I always say Microsoft Fabric is the future because we want to go away from a lot of, provisioning of all the different services or lots of doing coding, etc. It's a software as a service platform, which is going to help us to reduce the number of resources that are working over there, or in terms of expenses as well, the cost, which really matters. So, what do you think, Sandra? What would be your answer that one should go towards which route, Azure or Microsoft Fabric?
As an architect, I would say it depends.
Yeah,
It is well. It The interesting part of Microsoft Fabric is that it is based on Azure. What we can do in Fabric, we can create databases, we can fill it with data, we can
yeah,
connect it with other databases. We have that one lake solution.
yeah,
We have the real-time data, like the real-time intelligence tools, like the event stream
yeah,
and the KQL databases. That is all based on Azure. The only
yeah,
interesting part is that it's first just a portal, just
yeah,
like Power BI, a dashboard where you
yeah,
can just point and click, and within
yeah,
seconds you get the result. You get a database if you want to have one, and you can
yeah,
create a table within seconds.
yeah,
Um, so the ease of use is great. You're actually, as a data engineer, potentially also working as a cloud engineer because you are creating cloud resources. You
yeah,
don't see it, but you're doing. If you're creating a KQL database in an event house, you are on the other side, on the back end, you're creating a Azure Data Explorer cluster with a
yeah,
database. And if you're creating an event stream service for ingesting real-time data and passing it on to other services, that's basically a stream analytics job with some event hub around it.
yeah,
You don't see it, but it's there.
yeah,
So that means that with Fabric, your well, the time between an ID and actually building it can
yeah,
be days or maybe even hours.
yeah.
So
But
that's a really really interesting solution. Uh,
indeed,
the opposite side is that you still need knowledge, in my opinion, that you know what you're doing. If everybody's building a solution and they all use their own, now, for example, Event House, which is a Azure Data Explorer cluster,
yeah,
those clusters need compute. And
yeah,
how is compute measured in Fabric? That's measured in, it's called compute units, I believe,
yeah,
uh,
yeah. Computer units, CUs.
CUs.
Yeah,
So each cluster will eat up a little piece of all the CUs that are available within your capacity.
yeah,
So you have to be a little bit smarter about, well, do I really need this one? Or
yeah,
would I make a central one and have my colleagues all work on it with, of course, you can add extra authentication and authorization on top of it. But um, it's not it's not that you just start and play around, because then it will become very expensive or it will
yeah,
become very slow.
yeah,
Either. um, for me, in our projects, we see Fabric mainly as a extra persona. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Normally, we build a solution, and we build a solution, for example, with managed Grafana for real-time dashboarding,
Yeah.
which is great for engineers. Then
Yeah.
we have a Power BI platform, which is great for, well, say managers who want to know about OE and KPIs. They want to have the daily reports. And
Yeah.
then, of course, we have for example, Azure Data Explorer with the query language for the data scientist who want to do research, or, well, they have some ID that they want to look at, compare with the actual data.
Yeah.
That's
Indeed.
those are personas. So
Yeah.
we see the growth of people who want to do self-service. Just give me the data, and I will, without being a data scientist, but at least a
Yeah.
data engineer, they will to build a piece of the dashboarding themselves.
Yeah.
And that's where, in my opinion, Fabric comes in. It's as an extra persona.
Yeah.
It's silver bullet in my opinion.
Yeah.
It can get very far, but it can also be a kind of a lock-in, and it could be a little bit dangerous also. And for example, we have the event stream, which is capable of ingesting data.
Yeah.
It ingests data from Azure resources, from external databases, but it can also provide a endpoint secured. It's a Kafka endpoint, or actually it's an event
Yeah.
hub. So it also has the event hub interface.
Yeah.
But that means that the engineer who created that event stream, and the custom inputs, as it is called, the custom source,
Yeah.
there are keys involved. He has
In,
to manage keys suddenly. So he's now also an administrator, because
yeah.
you give out keys, and, well, who's using them?
Yeah.
Uh, and how do you manage that?
Yeah.
So um, it comes with responsibility. It's it's
Indeed.
it's a little bit like Spider-Man, huh? With
Yeah. Great power comes with great responsibilities.
very good.
Indeed. Yeah. So it would be correct to say that Fabric has a use case in the market, of course, but still it's not that mature that we can say with 100% confidence that, hey, you can use it. Secondly, that even if you are working on Microsoft Fabric, you still needs to have a experience, maybe 2 years, 3 years, or maybe more on Microsoft Azure platform. Because without knowing that how it actually works, you cannot implement over there. Or maybe you can, but then you don't know how to responsibly use it. That may
Correct.
either degrade the performance, or maybe it's gonna cost you a lot, and then company is gonna start asking questions on that. Cost is the
It,
most important factor over there, isn't it?
yeah. It will blow up. It will blow up in your face. It's like a
Yeah.
baby with a hand grenade. Uh,
Yeah.
it, uh, of course, you luckily, Fabric also comes with a really good monitoring system. You can
Yeah.
see how much compute units you are using. You can see when you're throttled or not, if you're using too much for a
Yeah.
certain time. So it's very transparent.
Yeah.
Um, so that's the beauty. But
Yeah.
again, be aware what you're doing. Hey, the noisy neighbor, that's one of the main problems that people encounter at this moment. If somebody's doing a lot, if the person or that system is using a lot of compute units, the rest of the team will encounter a slowdown, or a not that much responsive solution.
Wow. Yeah, indeed. I completely agree with you. So here's the $1 million question to you, Xander. In your experience, we know we both are working on Microsoft Fabric. It provides some amazing capabilities, and since it's a software as a service solution, it means a lot. And I can say that for 100% in the future, it's gonna be one of the top selling product for Microsoft, and it's gonna help all the organizations a lot. But there are still some organizations who do real-time intelligence, and for that, they prefer to use some other services. For example, when we ingest data in real time and we have to either generate dashboards, or maybe we have to do real time app integrations. For example, let's consider a food and manufacturing industry where they have to count that how many products they have received, whether they have been delivered, not delivered, and so on. So in those scenarios, when you have, such a big business at stake, would you recommend to use the real-time intelligence capabilities in Microsoft Fabric, or you would say, okay, go with the Azure or Snips Analytics?
I well, larger companies normally also have a IT team available, programmers, cloud engineers, data engineers. So that's a safe investment to just keep doing what they're probably already doing using the platform as a service solutions from Microsoft Azure.
Yeah,
Um, because and that's a very simple reason. You get complete access to all the features and capabilities of those platform as a service solutions.
yeah,
If you go for Fabric, Fabric is more like a 2080 rule. In
yeah,
20% of the time, you get 80% of the features.
yeah,
Microsoft is allowed to skip stuff or hide it because it's easier to manage, or most of the people don't use it. So why do the investment? But if you are a larger company with your own team, you will at some point, yeah, encounter those limitations.
yeah.
Luckily, I can say Microsoft has a really nice Fabric partner program.
Mm-hmm.
Look it up on the internet,
Yeah,
and there you can get in contact with the product teams directly, or you look up your local MVP
yeah,
guy who
yeah,
can help you out also. But
indeed.
the Fabric team is really accessible, and they are really into comments on what works great, what could work better, or actually stuff that they didn't think about.
Yeah,
Uh, so and I have the idea that what Microsoft is building in Azure, sorry, in Fabric, they are sometimes missing out stuff which is not in Azure yet.
yeah,
So they're eating their own dog food, and they are bringing extra features into Azure to make Fabric, well, a better product.
yeah.
So everybody gains from the fact that Microsoft moved over to Fabric.
Yeah, indeed. So, in my opinion as well, if I'll be very much honest, Fabric is doing great. It's coming like a storm in the market, and kind of it's destroying all the bridges that were there in the past. And more people are finding it more, handy. It's easy to use, and also they can control the cost as well. There was a kind of perception when Microsoft Fabric came over here in the market in October, last October exactly. So that time people started saying that, hey, it's a bit expensive, but they were forgetting a thing. Microsoft ideally did raise any prices for the 10 years for Power BI. And this is not just a Power BI. People can think like this way. It's your end-to-end solution. It totally depends on you that what you want to use, what kind of feature you want to use, whether you want to implement a lake house or you just want to use Power BI or you just want to do the real-time intelligence. So in that perspective, yes, it's definitely making changes in the entire data world, if I'll say. On the other hand, there are some of the features which are missing right now, as you also said, but I believe Microsoft is very clever in that part. They always work, they take feedback, they start working. Like you mentioned, the product group. Companies can directly connect with Microsoft. And if they find this product is useful, they want to do some POCs or MVP, they can connect with them. And definitely they're going to help you.
Yeah.
And maturity also going to come after 1 or 2 years. We cannot say that okay, product launch and it's 100% mature. World is changing.
It's what really strikes me regarding Fabric is how open the platform is regarding access to the product teams, the way to give feedback and wishes.
Yeah,
There's a really nice forum available where you can drop your questions.
yeah,
And what's also really nice is the roadmap. They have a very open roadmap available. If you look for the updates part,
yeah,
from Microsoft Fabric, you can see what they have in mind to deliver the next half year, or maybe even on a short term, and what they
yeah,
already delivered.
yeah,
So I'm there. There's some stuff coming which I'm, well, as you know, as an MVP, there's an
yeah,
NDA involved, so we cannot talk about it. But
yeah.
there is so much nice stuff still in the pipeline. And of
Indeed.
course, I only know this part of what Microsoft is cooking regarding Fabric features.
Yeah.
But um, the pricing part that you say, yes, I think a lot of people are concerned about how Fabric is priced. But keep in mind that you're doing the work of a data engineer and a platform and cloud engineer.
Yeah.
So you get so much power for a little
Yeah.
bit higher price than if you do something in Azure.
Yeah.
You
Indeed.
can you can take it away if you don't need it. You can
Yeah.
scale up and scale down if you want to.
Yeah.
And I'm now already working with Fabric for a year ago, for 1 year, because when it was in public preview, I already tried stuff out, and I have the feeling that it's also becoming faster and faster.
Yeah.
Where I first needed a F8 or a F16 to get stuff done,
Yeah.
I now see that it works without any issues that I can see, or without throttling on an F4 and F2. So
Yeah. That's
that's um, yeah, well, that's really interesting. So if you are interested in Fabric, I think this is the time to step up. It's
indeed.
most of the features are general available now. The real-time intelligence part is general available.
Yeah.
I'm doing a lot with IoT, and there's a full functionality support to
Yeah.
get the Azure IoT operations, the new Edge part from Microsoft, to get that connected with Fabric. I'm working on a blog post about that.
Yeah.
Keep an eye on that one. Um,
Indeed.
it's a beautiful time at this moment.
Indeed, and I completely agree with you. So, guys, if you want to make your career with Microsoft Fabric, this is the right time, like Sander said. And not only that, from the blog, it came to my mind. If you are not following Sander and you are working with Microsoft Azure or IoT devices, then you are missing a lot. So please do connect with him on LinkedIn. You can see the LinkedIn profile of Sander on the screen. And not only that, it's his blog one. So please reach out to him, talk to him if you really want to learn something more, or maybe you need some guidance. He's one of the best person you would find, to be honest, and his experience is literally huge in this area. Coming to the Microsoft Fabric, guys, you should know that if you're going to sign a contract with Microsoft for using Microsoft Fabric, then you may get discounts as well. And that goes from 40% to more. So that's definitely going to reduce significantly your cost. There's a capacity utilization metrics app. You can definitely go with that, and it's free to use. So you can connect with your capacities, and over there you can track that how much capacity units you're consuming, whether you are going, over utilization phase, or there's some other challenges are appearing. Definitely, you will find all the information over there. However, Sander, I have a request to Microsoft if they are watching this video, or sometimes they do follow, that guys, please, you need to improve the capacity utilization metrics app. It's amazing. Okay. And I know that there's a lot of complex logics behind that, but still, you are Microsoft. If you cannot make it, faster, then who can do that? Secondly, there is always, whenever we are trying to find out that which operations are running behind that, there's XML activity in most of the cases. And it's like a black box. We don't know what is the XML. So it can be when somebody is directly connecting to the data set, it can be somebody is downloading it, or some other operations. It would be really great, Microsoft, if you can make it specific events. Okay, what's being done at the back end, whether somebody downloaded the report, they connected to another data set, something like that, and that can solve a lot of challenges. Now, finally, I would like to say that, guys, if you are watching this video, please stay tuned with us. I'm going to again request Sander to come with some demo in Microsoft Fabric on real-time intelligence, which is going to definitely help you guys. And once again, do follow him, and also don't forget to subscribe to this channel so that we can bring you more and more videos like that. But Xander, over to you. Would you like to say something to the audience about real-time intelligence, or anything about yourself that we missed in this conversation?
Well, what I want to say is, if you want to try out real-time intelligence yourself, there are a couple ways to work with it. First of all, the Azure Data Explorer that I talked about, the platform as a service database for real-time data,
Yeah.
there's a free cluster available. So you can start learning the query language which comes with it for free.
Wow.
And the same goes also for Fabric. There's a free trial available for
Yes.
several months
Yes.
of a duration, and you get free access to almost all the features which are there in Fabric. So it doesn't cost you a penny to start with real-time intelligence.
Yes, indeed. Lastly, guys, if you want to try Microsoft Fabric or Microsoft Power BI, it's the same thing now. So you should have either your work or school email address. Then you can definitely try for at least 2 months. But sometimes Microsoft is kind enough, you can try more than that. And for me, I ideally get an advantage that I can try more than that. And same can happen with you too. But definitely for 60 days, it's going to be free for you. You can try F64 as far as I remember. And guys, give it a try. Learn something new with the world, which world is learning right now. Keep exploring the world of data, and I'm sure you can exponentially grow your career with data. But for the rest, you know where to follow us, where to look for us, and where to connect with Sander as well. So, guys, this was Sander with me, principal IoT architect who has more than 20 years of experience in IoT and real-time intelligence. He's MVP from Netherlands in Microsoft Azure real-time intelligence and IoT devices. So please stay tuned with us and don't forget to subscribe and share this video to your friends and colleagues. Thank you so much for watching us.
Thank you.